Hello guys, hope you're all doing fine. So as we start, I'd like to know how many of us have the Microsoft Azure platform or have ever interacted with the cloud platform. If you have, you can raise your hand or type in the chat. Okay, cool. I can see Eleonora, can see Festus. Yeah, I've also interacted with it. Even Ridge, I can see you. Yeah, so I can see like a number of us have interacted with the platform. I can see Jane. Yeah, so that's what we are going to talk about today, about the cloud platform and the storage services, identity access, and the security features that are on it. It's going to be a practical session, and also we're going to go through it with the presentations. So it is Azure is a cloud-based data storage, and it provides services like the way we are talking about identity, access, security, storage. It is usually scalable. You can also connect Azure to any device you have as long as you have the account. And we're going to talk about various types of storages in Azure. They carry different types of data. Yeah. So exactly. So we need to know the types of data that we are going to work on with Azure so that we can know what type of storage we are going to use. So wait a minute. I can see some people are saying they have an issue with joining. Okay, if you used a link to join the meeting, how many of us used the link to join the meeting? Okay. Hmm. Okay, okay. Okay, let's continue then. So the types of data, like we have structured data, we have semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So for structured, they have like databases. They are like databases that are relational. Like you have a table, one table, and another table. And maybe one of them has an ID. Let's create maybe a table of car. And then we have another table of owners. So the car ID must be in both of the tables because it relates to the owner. See? Yeah. So that's how they relate. Semi-structured semi-structured is more or less like the same structured, but it has limited like IDs, doesn't have many IDs, and it doesn't have to be relational. Unstructured, it's like images, movies, and other files. Cool. So don't worry about how we're going to go through this. We're going to go through it practically so you can see it for yourself. Yeah, so the type of storage services we have in Azure are like blob storage, file storage, and then there's queue storage, and table and disk. So Azure can be accessible via the REST API. An API is an application programming interface. So API is like a communication between one computer with another computer. Yeah. So queue, table, and blob are accessible via REST API, while file and disk are accessible via Azure virtual machines. Okay. Now we're going to go through each of them in details. We have blob storage. So blob in full is binary large object. It's not complicated. It's just like saying a folder, but now we call it containers in Azure. So Azure contains like those containers that store the files you want to put up in the cloud. And it can deal with any kinds of data, backing up from images, text. It holds any type of data, like it's unstructured. And it has a flat hierarchy. It doesn't have any type of format. So you can throw up anything literally you have that you want to be in the cloud. And there are types of storage tiers. The types are hot, cool, and archive. So when we create a storage account, which we'll do in a minute, we'll be asked whether we want to use it for hot, cool, or archive data. So hot means like frequently accessed data, the data that you use on frequent, but cool, it means it's not frequently used. So you can have data maybe you won't use maybe in some months or a year, like content you don't use that much. Okay, and archive is like you've kept it there for a long time. It's like storage that you will not use. Let's say it's a more intense definition of cool. Yeah. And it has the lowest price because you're not going to access the data frequently. Yeah. Okay. So file storage, it works almost the same as blob, but instead of blob, you see the structure of blob is like a container. You'll see it in the portal. It's written container, and then you can add your files. But for file storage, it has shares. So instead of containers, we have shares, and instead of blobs, we have files. And then you can access your files using an SMB protocol. Yeah, an SMB protocol is a server message block protocol, which like it enables file sharing, and those kind of stuff. Okay, and for file storage, it allows file storage via shared drive protocols. Then it has like the lift and shift scenarios that allows applications to be stored in the cloud. So you can just lift. It's like, I think it's like dragging and dropping. It's like easy to upload the data you have. And then we have queue storage. Queue storage is more of a messaging service in which you can upload. Let's say you're an application developer. So you want to upload your app to the cloud. But instead of uploading the whole application to the cloud, you have various mini apps you want to add so that you can have the whole application to the cloud. So maybe you have not developed the whole thing. So the bits that you have, they're like messages. So you store them in the cloud, store them, and then you can now have the whole app on the cloud once you're done. See? Okay. It is a small storage, but it is good for app storage. Yeah, as you can see, you can be able to add bits and bits of them, of the apps, the small apps you have to create the whole picture. It's designed for scalable asynchronous processing. Yeah, it's more so the same of what I've explained. Okay, table storage. Table storage, now it's for semi-structured data. Yeah. It has like it's not requiring SQL or data schema. Data schema is like you see in those relational tables. You can go and look for the data schema. Data schema will contain the details of the table, ranging from the ID, from the fields that you've created. Yeah. So it doesn't require SQL and schemas. Yeah, those tables don't require them to be stored in the table storage. Let me add people to the. Okay, cool. So yeah, so data does not need foreign keys. Foreign keys uniquely identifies each field. So the way we gave an example of a car and an owner. So the car ID, it's like a number plate. So that's the one that will have a foreign key. Yeah. So table storage is, sorry about that. Table storage is more about semi-structured data. It has many programming interfaces and it's small and simple. It requires no schema tables. So you can see like Azure is not that complicated, like it's uploading files to the cloud. We'll look at that in a minute. And then we also have disk storage around the same platform. So you can emulate your disks in the cloud. You can store your virtual machines there. Yeah. And also Azure has like pricing choices. So you cannot just do everything every time. There are limits. Yeah, there are limits. Like you can store a big disk you have, but it will require a higher price for it. But if you have a smaller disk, smaller price, like it goes like that. Yeah. So we have storage tiers. Storage tiers are like standard performance and premium performance. So they are grouped like blobs, files, tables, queues, and virtual machine disks are meant for standard performance, while premium performance is meant for storage of unmanaged virtual machine disks only. So let's say you have a virtual machine disk here in your cloud, but you're not using it that often. So it will be meant for premium performance. You see why we are learning these things? It's because once we go to the practical side, it's going to require us to enter these details. So if you don't know the details, you can end up having charges priced on you that you didn't want. See? Okay, and we have data redundancy. Data redundancy is like having multiple copies of data in one place or in multiple places. So we see in the slide that we've categorized it in primary region and then you have secondary region. Primary region, it means like it's the main location of storage of the data. But secondary, it's like a backup. Yeah, so sometimes in our computers, we have that kind of storage. You have the primary one, which is the local C, and then maybe you have another secondary region, which is like a flash disk, etc. So picture it in the same way, like it's that way. For primary region, we have like LRS and ZRS. So locally redundant storage, it copies data synchronously 3 times within a single physical location. Yeah, we have like different types of, you see this LRS is the cheapest, the least expensive, but we have another one that might cost you more. And we'll look at that in a minute. So data redundancy, we'll see it when we create a storage account. Yeah. Okay, for zone redundant storage, it copies data synchronously across the 3 Azure availability zones. Yeah, for applications requiring high availability, Microsoft recommends using ZRS in the primary region. Okay, now let's go to our backup. We have JRS, geo-redundant storage, which copies data synchronously 3 times within a physical location in the primary region, and then it copies your data synchronously to a single physical region in the secondary region. So it's like you have 3 of your files in maybe LRS or ZRS, the primary region you chose. And then we have 3 again in the geo-redundant. So you have like 6 copies of your data. So it's so safe. It's safe. Like we have the secondary region is like created because you can have an issue where your data is stored in the primary region. Let's say maybe a tornado came and it attacked the office that had the servers there. So you see, yeah. So secondary region will come up and help you to access your data. You won't lose your data. And then we have the GZRS, which copies your data synchronously across 3 Azure availability regions. In the primary region using ZRS, and then it copies your data synchronously to a single physical location in the secondary region. Okay, so I have a link there. Okay, I'll send the slides also, so you can go through the notes if you want more elaboration. I attached links there, so you can go through them. Okay, so Azure storage services, you can access them using various libraries, because like we have developers most of the time they like interacting with CLIs. Yeah, they like adding commands to their work. They don't like, you see, going through the stuff, clicking buttons, etc. But when you have codes, when you have commands, it will be easier to interact with the cloud. So yeah, even it's described already. So it allows developers to easily access and interact with cloud services and databases. So REST API can work with the Azure storage services. We have client libraries like .NET, Java, Android. We have Node.js. We have Python, like the well-known, not famous, the well-known programming languages are over here. Even PHP, Ruby, C++. Like you can easily interact with Azure. So enough of the talking. Now we can do the demo. So I had a question on how many of us have an Azure account created already, so that you can know how we are going to move. Okay. You can raise your hand so that you can see. Okay. Mm-hmm. Also in the chat, maybe you can have maybe people who don't have the Azure. You can interact with either the chat or raise your hand. Okay. I can see a number of us have their hands raised, but I'm not sure if there are people who don't have an account. But I'll just share the link. Okay, let me go to the chat. For students, I have uploaded a link that you can use. So that's the link. If you are a student, there is an opportunity for you to have a subscription and various benefits. Like you don't have to pay for other things, you see. So you can create an account using that link if you're a student. I'll upload even more links for non-students. Sometimes it requires your credit card info, so don't worry, it's not a scam. I will put up the right links, okay, so that you can go through it. Cool. Okay, so here is my browser. I'm using Microsoft Edge. So if you're with me, you can just type Azure portal. And then click the first link. Yeah, it took me directly to my portal because I set up a setting to not forget my account, and every time I click it, it directs me directly. But if you don't have an account, you have to create a Microsoft account first, or you can create an Outlook account. Outlook is like email, and then you can connect it to Azure. And also you have the option of clicking the link of the students so that you can get that benefit. Yeah, there are multiple choices, and I'll share them all. So let's start with our storage account. So I had one account created. You can see it has like funny names over there, but you can create a new one so that you can demonstrate how to create a storage account. Well, so how I navigated to creating a storage account, you can either go to these three lines, or you can just search storage. And then you can see storage accounts over there. But since I'm already in the storage space, I'll just leave it at that. But you can have those two choices. So I have a subscription already, and yeah, you can choose. Once you create an Azure account, you can have subscriptions down there. Like it depends on which choice you made. Maybe you used your credit card, maybe, or also you can create an Azure account using GitHub. If you signed up for GitHub Student Pack, you have that benefit also, like of being a student. Storage name. So storage account name, it should be unique. You see the way you create maybe a username on maybe Instagram, the social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, it needs to be unique in the same way. So the name we are going to choose, yeah, just think of it in that way. I don't know if you can recommend names I can put up there so you can feel a little bit nice. Yeah, you can send some name requests. Yep. Can just don't be shy. Type in any name you want for the storage account name that we need to use it as a demonstration. Okay. If we don't have any, you're serious? Okay. If you don't have any, I will create my own then. Yeah, let's go with maybe Udemy. I know it's Udemy, so I just wrote that Udemy. Yeah. Okay, for my space, the region I'm in, I choose the closest place I'm in, you see. So like I'm from Kenya, so Africa. I will click South Africa. Yeah. And then for performance, you see, these performances are what I was talking about in the slides. We have standard and premium. So premium was for virtual disks, those that are not used infrequent, you see. Yeah, so I'll just go for standard because I want to have blob file shares. I'm not using virtual disks. Redundancy. Yeah, this is another thing we had talked about. We have LRS, GRS, ZRS, and GZRS. Oh, you can see some charts. Okay, we are good. So we have redundancy. Yeah, that's why we are talking about them. I'll choose LRS because money, yeah. So locally redundant storage. That's what I require for now. Then I go to next. We see this up here, there are the steps you need to create the account. So we're going to go through them. You see, we have REST API, so you can interact with it using REST API. Key access. Key access, we're going to look at it in a few. Then, yeah, I think everything okay. Everything is okay here. You can leave it as it is. Oh, here are the types of access tiers: hot, cool, and we had archive also. So for me, I want to use it frequently, so I'll leave it at hot. So next we go to networking. Networking, we can enable public access from all networks. That means you've uploaded it to everyone. And then you have selected virtual networks and IP addresses. Here you have to maybe specify. Yeah, you see, you have the drop down. But for me, I want it to be accessible to the public. Cool. So routing, we'll keep it at Microsoft Network Routing because that's what I want. For data protection, soft delete, enable soft delete for blobs. Soft delete is like you're going to delete. Maybe let me give a reference to maybe your gallery. There's some galleries where you delete pictures, but then it doesn't delete it completely. There's it's called a recycle. Let me call it a recycle bin or something. I don't know. So a recycle bin there. You deleted your picture, but you can go to the recycle bin and restore it. So that's the same for soft delete. You can have an option to delete your blobs. You remember the blob storage? So we're going to look at the blob. So yeah, you can just delete and it has a copy of the data. You won't lose it completely. So I want that option. So I'll leave it at that. You can see the days to retain are 7, meaning that when the 7 days are over and you deleted the data, it goes away like boom. But before the 7 days are over, you can restore the data that you deleted. Cool. So these are the other settings. You can look at them when you create your account. Next, we go to encryption. Encryption type, we're going to look at security and identity and access. So we're going to talk more about this later. Tags. Tags are okay. This will just leave it. You can skip it. Review. Review now is a summary of what you've chosen. And you can go to previous if you don't want that. So you can see up here it's running a final validation, meaning that it was checking if my choices were all clicked etc. If it's not, you will see a red star on top or a red dot. So you can look at that if you didn't like fill up stuff. So we are going to create. So initializing deployment and we wait for it to get up. Yeah, now we have our, oh wait, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Now we have our deployment, which is currently in progress, but you can see the overview. We have our deployment name. It's Udemy, but now we are given an ID for it to be unique. We have the starting time, the day created, then the subscription. The subscription is the, like, you see when you create your account, the choice you chose. So they will give you a subscription. Okay. So now let me click. Oh, wait, it's still in progress. So we have to wait a minute. Yeah. So patience. Cloud requires patience also. Don't forget. Yeah, now it's complete. We can go to resource. Yeah, you can click on resource, go to resource. So like resource gives you the various options you have for your storage account, the various things we went through. We have the overview, which gives the details of the account and etc. Like you have blob services file, the things you selected. So yeah, have a code. Okay. Access control. Access control is like, we're going to talk about access in a few. So access the people that you've given access to in your storage account, and then the storage browser. Here is where I want us to go through. Blob containers. Blob, the storage I was talking about, where you can have different types of files ranging from pictures, from videos, everything. So you can create a container. For the container, you can see we have access levels. We have private, blob, and container. I want it to be private, so let it remain at private. Okay, so we can think of like names to give it, maybe uh, community ideas. Yeah, so it's going to verify and it's cool. Like there's a tick, so it's okay. We create. So a storage container is being created and it's successfully done. So you're going to click on the container, and then to upload the various files you want in the cloud, you click upload. And then maybe you can drag and drop if you had your file explorer open. But for me, let me just click browse files. And then we have, maybe let me click downloads. Maybe upload this. So advanced has the type of, wait, I'm so sorry. So advanced has like the size of the file, the access tiers, the details in, the details in detail, something of the sort. So we're going to upload the file. And that's it, successfully uploaded. Like Azure gives you messages to confirm that it has been uploaded. And now we have it at this. Okay, now you can change the access levels of these files that you upload. You see, you have, it's private. So cool. So let's copy the link of this. I want us to see the access. As we look at storage, you can also look at access. So I've copied the link. Let me paste it. Remember, we stored it as, we kept it private. So wait. I pasted the wrong link. Wait. Or you click the file that you created, and then you copy to clipboard. Nice. So we have the URL of the file clicked. Now what I expect is for the file not to open, because I kept the accessibility private. So you can see does not appear to have any style information associated with it. So there's no, like, literally it's like not having any file known as that. Cool. But you can change the access level. Maybe you want people to access it. So let's say blob, and we say okay. Now we click the file again, and then we copy. We copy the link to the file, and then we paste and go. And there it is. Oh, yeah, there it is. We have the file already. So it has given us access, but the access is limited because we can't uh, we can't like edit anything. So it's just a read only. Yeah, cool. So what else? We have blob file shares. File shares works all the more the same, but file share is like it gives you access to share. You see, it's like easy. There's the feature, it was called lift and draw. Yeah. So you have that like feature. It's more, if you want to share your files well, use file share. It works more the same like blob, but it has that sharing accessibility. Queues, it's the messaging service. Like if you want to create an app, if you want to like have the messaging stuff, maybe you have an app that gives you messages or it sends messages, you can use queues. Tables, it's no SQL or relational. So you can use it to store tables. Okay, let me admit people. I can see something. Oh, okay, they're already admitted. Cool. Now that's it for storage. Like you can play around with the interface. You can see, oh, data migration is for like when you want to transfer your data. Yeah, I think we talked about this. We will talk about Microsoft Defender for Cloud in a moment. The rest, you can play around with the interface. It's really cool, like having your files in the cloud, and you can give access to people. And yeah, it's very nice. Okay, let me go back to our slides. Okay, I hope like some of you have been able, okay, most of us have been able to go through with me the interface, but if you aren't, it's okay. We can just I will share the slides. I will also share the link to a good like he's so nice, a great YouTuber who also uploads stuff on Azure, and he takes you through the stuff practically. So next we have identity, access, and security. So Azure provides identity, access, and security features, and we have like various definitions. We have identity management, access management, authentication, authorization, and security. Most of these terms you might have gone through them in your applications, maybe, but most of the time we ignore them. But like identity management, identity is who you are. So identity management is like used to manage now this authentication, authorization, and access control. I'll talk about it more practically in a few. Access management is like controlling, verifying, and tracking and managing access to authorized users and applications. So let's say access management. You see the way we created a file in our container from, let's call it a blob. We created a blob in our container, and then we gave it access after, like, we changed it from private to public. So a set of people could have access to it. So that's access management. Authentication It's verifying identity. It's like proof that you are who you say you are. Sometimes we go to our browser, and then you're asked, wait, you're told you're not a robot, or proof that you're not a robot. So it's like saying, yes, I'm human, because they mostly don't want like robots up in their applications or browsers typing in spam accounts, or I mean spam messages all over. So yeah. Authorization is granting access to authenticated accounts to gain pass to content they have access. Security is now like security is securing, but it's like measures and tools that are used to protect the data, applications, and infrastructure. So, so Azure Active Directory. This one is going to be a place in the portal that you're going to interact with when when going through access. So it's going to be of use to us. So if you've used Skype, Outlook, OneDrive, Microsoft 365, and Azure itself, so you've gone through AD services. Oh, I can see like Mount Doom. Oh, this was a suggestion, or I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, if you have accounts in either of those things, you've worked with Azure AD. Users for Azure AD are like IT admins, application developers, online service subscribers, like Microsoft 365 users. Like these are the people who, when they learn about Azure AD, it will be so beneficial for them in their work. And then we have zero trust. Zero trust is under security. So like it's a security model that assumes the worst case scenario and protects resources with that expectation. So in the past, security was like, if we have our data in this place, it's safe. But now these days we use zero trust, like no trusting anyone, basically. So you have to authenticate and verify that you're among the users of that, let's say, farm business, so that you can gain access to the data. That's what zero trust is all about. Yeah, that's just a summary, but we'll go more in detail maybe in another session. And then we have Microsoft Defender for Cloud. It's for security. Now it's like a practical tool. Now it hardens your resources, tracks your security posture, protect against cyber attacks, and streamline security management. And that's it. Like security and access. Access is used with Azure AD, and for security, it's accessed using Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Okay, now we have a demo. We can do something to learn more about it practically. Let me share my screen. Okay, here I have my Azure portal. Remember, you go to the browser, search Azure portal, and then boom, you have your account, especially if you created it. But if you don't have, I'll send links to create an account. So let's search for, you can either have the two options as before, you can write AD and you have the Azure Active Directory, or you can go to these three tabs there. You can click Azure Active Directory there. Okay. So now we have a variety of features. We have the overview. Overview tells us like an overview of your account. Like me, I'm registered under like student ambassadors for Microsoft. So you have all these details around. Yeah. And then we have users groups. So here's where we go through it. So for users, you can create users in your account, but since I'm under Microsoft, I cannot create a new user in the organization because I'm not given the permit to do so. So that's one of the access settings that you can have in Azure. You can create your own organization, and then you can limit the number of people who create new users in the account. So mainly create a new user is for when maybe you are adding someone to the organization. Let's go for invite. So for invite, you can have you can invite someone. Okay, I think okay, you can invite someone to your organization. Maybe let's say who um I'll put up my email there. So maybe say this Lily, and then you can write maybe hi, no, or an invitation to Azure. And then you can review and invite. And then you can invite. So like review gives you an overview of it. You can see here user invitation in progress for user Lily. Successfully invited. So when Lily opens her Gmail, because like it's at Gmail, she'll see a notification telling her she's given an invite to join the organization. So that's one of the features for Azure. Once she's accepted the invitation, she'll be part of this, but for my own organization. Yeah, so that will be access. Like she'll be given certain accessibilities. So like for me, I'm Lily in this scenario. Like Microsoft has added a new user who is me now, but I'm given an access limit. I can't create new users. Yeah. And then we have group. Wait. Um, you can click X. You can close. And then we have groups. Now groups is for when you have a multiple number of users. You want them to be in a group. That's the use for groups. It's loading. The page is still loading. Can wait. But you can see you have deleted groups. So like, oh, okay, I also don't have any group, so it won't show up. Deleted groups are the groups that I might have deleted. You see, also this has that feature of like the one I told you, gallery soft delete. So after 30 days of original deletion, the groups are permanently deleted. So when you delete your group, it does not get gone forever. Like, yeah, you can restore them using that. And then you have roles and administrators. So for your users, the users that you'll have, you can assign them various roles. You can give them all of these are roles under Azure. So you can give them various access and various roles to your organization, which is really nice. Okay. So most of this, like, it's really cool having them, and I feel like you can try and maybe put up let me say a sketch of an organization, and then you say, okay, now I'm an a manager or a CEO. So I want to have various users around me. So you can tell your friends, hey, can you be part of my organization? And then you create the users you want. You can add them there. You can send them an invite, or since you can have a subscription or you have your own account is not linked to an organization, you can create a new user because it won't have that access feature that is limiting that you can't create a new user. Okay. So next up, we have security. Security, you search up Defender. And you have this Microsoft Defender for Cloud. The same way you can still access it using these 3 tabs. So we wait for it to load. Remember, I told you patience is required in the cloud. Yeah. So for Microsoft Defender, this is like a service in Azure that defends, that secures and defends the data you have. You see, like I uploaded my file over there, it's a blob storage. You have your users, you have like all of the things under Azure that you have. Microsoft Defender is there to secure it. And now we have like cloud security. Let me talk about this. So security posture. Security posture is like an overview of how your security is, how the, see, I have a 29% score because I have like management groups and all that. So this secure score is a score of how good your security is. So the higher your score, the higher the security is. Okay. I want us to like go through a practical demo for maybe when you have issues under your security. So to go through that, it's security alerts. So when you go to security alerts, you can see these are sample alerts I created before. But if you want to create new ones, you can go to sample alerts. And then you can create sample alerts. So these are like for you to interact with Azure before you now start using it fully. It's like a learning experience, which is really nice. So you can see sample alerts creation in progress. Okay. I think it's okay. Also, if you see this tab, this blue running line under notification bell, it means that a process is undergoing. You can click it, you can see the processes that is undergoing. Like we have this alerts creation that is in progress, and we also have the former notifications I had. Okay, you can click some of the sample alerts I had before this one gets created. Okay, so this is like an overview of my sample of my security alert. You can click the view full details to see the details about it. Yeah, we can see the notification created. Nice. So here you see like under these alert details, there's various alerts that will be given. Maybe you have your website that you stored in, maybe let's say let me say like in under messaging. Messaging was for queue storage. So you have your website. Oh, also Azure has like website static. So you can store your static websites over there. You have your static website there. Someone clicked it and started putting up passwords that are not accurate for the website. So there will be a security alert on it because it's uploaded in the cloud, and Azure follows up on every storage, every data that you have under it. So you'll have maybe a notification that maybe on this time this user came up and started putting up various sign-ins. Yeah. Let me see if we can have any of them there. Yeah. Okay. You see, like maybe this one. We have the client IP address. We have the threat ID. Like we have like even threats have their own ID. and then principal name. Yep, etc. So as you've seen, my Azure has a diverse features for storage, security, access. It's really cool to have them all. So instead of using uh, data in places that can get easily lost, or even if you have your secondary storage, you see, it's meh. Cloud is the way to go because you can sign up you see, like Azure. I have my laptop there. It has an account. I can sign in there and access everything. I have my phone over there. I can sign up and access it um, using the same way. So you can access your data in the cloud using Azure, using various devices. So it's a really good place to start. Like if you want to get into the cloud, let's go for Azure. Yeah, we're almost done, getting done. Um, yeah. So I have various resources that I have in my presentation that I use for my presentation. Here they are. So I'll upload the links. Mhm. Let me upload the links so that you can click it up and go through the stuff in detail if you want. And so far, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. And if you want to say something, you can also say, because we are getting done. I'm sharing the resources. You can click them. You can create your account. I'll share everything. Yeah. So okay, so that last link I've sent, it's the YouTube playlist AZ-900. So like this, what I've gone through for those who are doing the AZ-900 exam, they can use that link to go through the various services so that you can ace that exam, Yeah. Okay, and we are done. You can connect with me using LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. My username is Lily and Tech. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the session. I enjoyed it personally, and thank you guys for joining. You can leave if you want. Yeah, that's it. And don't forget to patience in Azure, patience in cloud, and yeah, interact with the interface. Thank you.